This is Paul Wilson.
And Jason Wehrli.
And you're listening to the Diesel Performance Podcast. Guys, we got a special guest host, Jason Wehrli from WC FAB. Jason, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great, Paul. Long time no see. It's been quite a while since I've been on the podcast, and it's nice to be back.
Yeah, man. You know, last time, and Justin and I were just talking about this, last time we came out to your shop and got to walk around and kind of see everything. This is, I think, the first time you and I have gotten to take a look at the shop here at Duramax Tuner and look. There's not nearly as much powder coating or as many people running around now as compared to when we ran out to your place. Jesus Christ, you guys were packed then. I understand still just slammed with stuff going on now.
Yeah, I think it was about a year ago or so now you guys came down. You and Chris were at the shop, and we gave you a tour of the place and showed you around a little bit. Yeah, we got a big crew, a lot of guys running around, and a lot of stuff happening all over the place between each division. And it hasn't gotten any slower by no means. You know, it's been a solid year.
That's good, man. That's good. Well, hey, listeners, this week over at Calibrated Power Duramax Tuner, we have a brand new Stealth Boost Tester kit that we're working on getting a product launch ready for. So this is the first place we're actually announcing this is a real product we're getting ready to go live with. Hoping to have it out right before Christmas. So any of you guys who really get super heavy-duty stockings, might be a great stocking stuffer for you. Jason, have you had a chance? Have we shown you the Stealth Boost Tester kit yet?
I saw your teaser on social media. I haven't seen it in person yet. I saw it was a LB7, or are you making one compatible for all VGTs as well?
We're gonna have them all. So all the Duramaxes are going to be supported as we go live. We actually already have all the products built. They're just finishing packaging right now. It's a really, really cool concept where I'm sure you know, all diesel shop owners know, 80% of the trucks that come in have a boost leak and the guy never knew it.
Yeah, I would probably venture to guess that boost leaks are probably the number one overlooked item on these trucks with people working on them. Even the do-it-yourselfer, people totally overlook the fact of boost leaks and how big of a deal they can be on a truck's performance. So it's definitely an ace for that product there. That's definitely a good call.
That's right. And one of the flaws that we have seen throughout the years is especially as we've gotten into turbo manufacturing, is we have brand new trucks come in or very new trucks come in, and we boost test them at the discharge pipe, so the hot side intercooler pipe right off of the turbo, and we boost test it, and it's fine. And you put it all back together, and you're like, man, this thing still has the symptoms of a boost leak, and you rack your head against the wall. Well, it turns out if you pull that turbo off from the factory, we 100% have had OEM turbos with a seal leak on the compressor cover.
Yeah, so testing it from right at the intercooler pipe connection, you pretty much eliminated testing the turbocharger, which obviously is a culprit in some cases.
That's right.
Of a leak point.
That's right. Yeah. So the new Stealth Boost Tester kit all bolt to the face of the turbo or the inlet air horn. So you'll either pull, on a VVT, you'll be able to just pull the intake off because it's just a V-band clamp, and then V-band clamp right onto the Stealth Boost Tester, which has a chuck to plug into our high-quality regulator. So liquid-filled gauge, heavy-duty regulator, something that's going to last you a long, long time and be able to be in your toolkit for the rest of your mechanical
life. Does it
life.
come with a bottle of soapy water?
It doesn't come with the soapy water. No, it's funny you say that because I've always laughed at the different mechanics I see in the shop because everybody knows I won't turn a wrench to save my life. But I get to see the 3 or 4 different mechanics, and one of them does not matter how big the boost leak is. There could be a hole you could fit 2 fingers inside of. He will go get his soapy water out and spray around it. And I'm like, bro.
Just got to see those bubbles, man.
We all see where it's leaking. We can hear where it's leaking. I can put my finger over it. It's leaking. The soapy water's not helping. Now, there's also another guy.
Well, when the leak is that big, it usually just blows the water away.
Yeah,
and
right.
Not bubbles.
There's nothing. I'm like, what are he's like, see the mist?
It's actually funny you mentioned that. We were at the drag strip, the Byron Diesel drag days there just a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, and we were out there with the L5P shop truck that some of you might follow on the YouTube channel. Currently the highest horsepower one, at least last I knew of. We did hold the fastest quarter-mile record, but I think that just got broke a couple weeks ago. But we were at the drag strip, and the thing was just running poor. It was way off from what it normally did. And we get back, and we're boost testing it, and it's like, there's no leaks. And the leak was so big, it was, and there's noise, obviously, when you're blowing air into the engine. You know, you can't always just listen for boost leaks. That's why you got to spray. Well, there was so much air coming out, like it was coming out as fast as it was going in, and we ended up finding the leak on the very, very bottom side of the intercooler. And it's like you could have sprayed it all day and you wouldn't even have noticed because it's just blowing the water right away. But once we took the intercooler off and tested just the cooler, it's like, oh yeah, there's a gaping hole right here.
Right, yeah, yeah.
And it was in a spot where you couldn't see it. You know, it's behind up against the radiator, a bunch of plastic. Like you couldn't get soap on it.
Right.
But you just you could hear that general area. But yeah, it's a perfect example.
There you go, man. And we run into it all the time. So that's where I think this kit's going to be something that's a really, really big thing for guys. Being able to grab something, get some high-quality parts, get something that's going to last, and get something that's going to be accurate and has a lot of cool features with it. So we're excited for that product. We also, of course, have L5P Stealth Turbo testing right around the corner. We're trying to keep everything under wraps. We're keeping everything under wraps. Right now, what I can say is we are working on validation testing on a fuel-only L5P, and we're looking for guys to make a guess on what that horsepower number is going to come out to be. So we have not released any numbers to this point. Once validation testing is done and we have 2 different trucks with the same turbo on it and the same fuel system, we'll then be able to determine, okay, this is a consistent number. This is ready to tell people.
And we might have a truck in the background with some extra fuel.
Right.
To see what that does. Just maybe. Just maybe.
Just for testing purposes. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. So guys, if you want to talk more about that, there's a couple of places you can come and talk to myself and a lot of other guys. That's our Facebook groups. So number 1, Fans of Diesel Performance Podcast, rapidly growing Facebook group. Thank you guys so much for getting in there and participating. Post questions about your truck. It doesn't matter how new you are to diesel or how long you've been around. We're always happy to help out. Nobody's going to tell you to use the search bar. We're just going to try to help you and answer your questions in a polite way. And then also, if you are north of the border and you're up in Canada, please jump on and join Canadian Diesel Community. That's a really fun Facebook group just for our guys up north. Guys like Jim McNichol, Byron Sador, all sorts of other big horsepower Canadian guys, all going to be a part of that group. So you can jump in and join and talk with them and get some great feedback there as well. Jason, I wanted to ask you, have you tested out the Exergy fuel additives yet?
Yeah, I've got it. I've been using it in my trucks. I know two of my brothers have been using it in theirs, and several of the employees at the shop. We saw Randy at Shides earlier this year, and he was telling us about it. And we had a couple cases shipped to us, and we've been running it. And I know we've been selling it. It's been a hot seller. It's been great stuff. And yeah. Randy, typical Exergy, they go above and beyond doing their development and testing. And I know they had many outside sources doing tests on it, and it's got some. You got all the more details probably than I do off the top of my head.
You know, it. Of course, I love that you phrase it like this. Like, of course, Randy from Exergy, above and beyond when it comes to validation testing. Like, it's on another level. The engineering and the science that goes into this. We've talked about fuel additive in the past. I think I've been quoted as saying things like, I don't pay for snake oil. I've been burnt, man. Like, I've wasted my money on pouring crap in my tank that did nothing for me. And I know that as we're getting the Exergy fuel additives, whether it's the winter blend or the summer blend or whatever you're looking for, I know that I'm getting something that's actually going to make a difference. So Chris and I are going to be doing a special episode on that. He's going to run some in his Cummins as soon as he gets it back. That's under some testing right now. And then I'll be running it in my emissions-equipped, totally stock X5. We're going to see what happens. So I'm excited to have some results. We're looking to get Randy on the show or one of the other guys from Exergy to talk to us a little bit more about that. Guys, if you're interested, you can check out WC FAB. Coming soon, you'll be able to check out Duramax Tuner as well to go ahead and get your hands on some of that Exergy fuel additive. Really, really cool stuff, man. I'm excited for it. Now, Jason, the reason I brought you in today was it's been a boring year as far as sports go.
Depending what kind of sports you're into.
Well, even the diesel sports, man, have been few and far between. There's been a couple of events, and you've gotten to go to a lot more of them, I know, than I have. But we missed our big ones, man. We missed Diesel Power Challenge. We missed Ultimate Callout Challenge. We missed most of the big races, most of the big sled pulls. Towards the end of the year, some things started going on. Did you get to make it to anything?
Yeah, truck pulling was pretty limited this year. We definitely changed things up. A little less time truck pulling, a little more time behind the ski boat and on the motocross bike, but that's okay. We still had fun. But, yeah, definitely an odd year. I've been truck pulling pretty consistently all summer long for 3 months of the year, every year for probably the last 8 or 10 years. So this year was definitely different. And as I said, we spent a lot more time on the water and a little bit more time on the dirt with the motocross. But yeah, it was quiet in that regards. We ended up making it to Shides at the end of the season. Shides still went on. Jeremy Wagler and Shide Diesel put on a great event down there, and we had a lot of fun. But obviously, with UCC being canceled and Diesel Power Challenge getting canceled, it was a pretty quiet first half of the year. So I actually was in the process last winter of rebuilding my pull truck. So it actually worked out fine for me because it wasn't ready for the beginning of the year anyways. So I had some extra time to get it done. But ISP ended up still being able to pull off, I think, 5 or 6 events. Normally we do about 30 to 35 events a year.
Yeah. And
we had a handful we were able to get in just towards the end of the season there that were, privately held on private property where we didn't have to deal so much with fairs and fair boards and state so much.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, glad to hear it. Glad to hear you got to get out in the dirt and have some fun with the trucks.
Yeah.
And at least that it got put back together, because I know that's the story of everybody who sled pulls is, I just need to it'll be ready soon.
Yeah. No, we thrashed on it pretty hard there. And then when everything started going down with COVID there in March and April, it's like, this doesn't need to get done right now, I guess. So it got shoved in the corner for 2 months and didn't get touched again until July. And we ended up getting the truck finished towards the end of July. And then I got married this year too. So that kind of, I wouldn't say throw a wrench in things. It just changed some of my priorities a little bit this year.
Why? That's just a one-day event.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it.
One
You
day.
Just show up, right?
One day. Yep. So we ended up getting it finished towards the end of the year there, and we made some events in the end of July and a couple in August and some in early September there.
Okay, so just to recap your storyline here, you found out that you had some extra time, pushed the truck in the corner, and then at the last minute had to rush to get it ready to go to the event.
Yes, correct. Just typical truck pulling mentality. I mean, we worked all winter long, and we're doing great. We're ahead of schedule. Like, we're going to show up for the test hooks. We're not going to have to worry about testing the day of a points hook. And sure enough, we scrambled, and I think we got it done like the night before the first actual hook, which was like the first weekend in August or something.
Yeah.
Just barely made it. So it was no different than a normal year there.
Now, what are the other big things that's gone on? Your guys' 10-year anniversary. I know that was a great event for you guys. Tell our listeners a little bit about it.
Yeah. So if you weren't local and didn't happen to make it to the event, we one big exciting thing that we had this year that kind of rounded off the year, and it was actually a last-minute decision and a last-minute throw together that ended up working out exceptionally well, and we had a great time. I know Calibrated Power was a sponsor of it, as well as Exergy and a lot of other big name vendors and people we deal with, and we really appreciate all their support. 2020 marked 10 years of business for the WC FAB brand, and we decided, I want to say it was mid-July, late July, when we really got to the point where, okay, pulling season ends pretty much Labor Day weekend around these parts. That's the end of pulling season. And by middle of July, it's like, okay, this COVID stuff, like it's ruined the season. The season's not going to happen. Well, we don't want to go out that way. We got to do an event. We got to do something. And eventually, at first, it was just going to be a small thing. We're going to invite vendors out and customers, and we're just going to have a small thing. Well, then we turned it into an ISP-sponsored full-blown show. So because we can't do anything half-assed. So we planned in a mere 7 weeks, I think it was. We planned an event. We'll get into more detail later, but we bought some property just down the street from the shop. We got a little 10, 11-acre chunk of land, and just so happened that we bought that this year, and perfect place to have a truck pull, nice and conveniently located down the street from the shop. So we started planning. We went to the city, talked to the city about it, and got the approval from them so we weren't pissing off any Karens. And we got the approval from the city and the health department to have the event. We were able to have a couple small food trucks on site and rented some bleachers, put up all your standard COVID equipment signs, and had a truck pull. Had a 10th anniversary pull. We had, like I said, it was ISP sponsored, and I think we had 25 other sponsors, people we do business with, and dealers and people in the industry that help support us for our 10th year in business. Had a 10th anniversary T-shirt, which we got quite a bit left of. I overestimated on those, so you can go on the website and get your 10th anniversary T-shirt if you missed out. It's got really cool graphics on there and supporting all the sponsors on the back. So yeah, I think we had close to 90 competition vehicles. Had a nice 5-hour event. Had a great turnout, and it was a hell of a time. It almost got ruined. Originally it was scheduled for September 10th or 12th, I think. I think it was the 12th. And we had like 5 inches of rain in 3 days, and it was a disaster. It was absolutely brutal. And we already had the track cut in, and it was ready to rock and roll. And there's no fucking way this is happening.
Yeah.
So we did a last-minute reschedule. We canceled it on Friday. The event was supposed to be on a Saturday. We canceled it on Friday and rescheduled it for the following Saturday. And we're like, this is either going to be it's either going to be awesome or it's going to be a bust. We don't know because, stuff like that, guys got stuff scheduled trying to do, it's end of summer. They might have other plans with their family. Like, we might have half the amount of competitors show up or half the amount of people show up. We rescheduled, and that whole next week, the weather was beautiful, and it just ended up being a gorgeous day. The sun was out shining. The track was probably the best track we've ever been on all year, which isn't saying much. We were only on 6 tracks this year.
Right. But still, hey, best of 6.
So it ended up working out great. Our team did an excellent job. Chris in the office and all of my guys in the office and girls, everyone helped put it together, and a lot of guys in the shop helped too, setting up the track and just setting up equipment. Definitely a big pat on the back for the whole team, the whole crew putting it together and getting it done in a very short time, and it was just awesome. Like, I want to do it again. We'll see if we do or not. We haven't actually made that call yet.
That sounds like such a terrible idea. In 7 weeks, you had to do a last-minute reschedule.
Oh, man.
Everything worked against you, and you're like, man, the weather was so nice that day. There was 90 trucks. Like
it worked. It couldn't have worked out any better. But in all reality, I got to give it out to my brother Ryan. It was early in the year, March or April, maybe even earlier than then. He's like, it's our 10-year anniversary. What are we going to do this year? It's like, I don't know. We'll figure something out. And this is all before I think it was before COVID went down. He's like, we should have a truck pull. It's like, no fucking way. We ain't doing that. That's a headache. We are not messing with that.
You're like, I was thinking pizza?
No way. Like, we don't have time in the schedule. Like, the pulling schedule starts, Father's Day weekend, and it goes to Labor Day. Like, there's not a single open weekend. Like, there's no time to do it. So we scrapped that idea, like, right after it was discussed.
Yeah.
And then July rolled back around, and it's like, well, maybe we should have a truck pull. So I got to get up to Ryan. It was Ryan's idea in the beginning there, and we were like, no, not a good idea. And then we turned it into a great idea and made it happen. So
that's awesome.
It was a good group effort. And again, thanks for all the sponsors. And if you made it out there, obviously, hopefully you enjoyed yourself. You had a good time, and it was a hell of a day, a lot of fun. So there's no for sure yet. We'd like to do it again next year, but we'll see what the schedule looks like, and we'll see if we have a place to do it. And the time to do it and the energy.
I dig it.
11-year anniversary.
So that's the thing. Yeah, it's like 10 year. That was the big deal. So maybe we'll take a few years off and we'll wait till our 15-year anniversary or something. I'm not going to be able to wait that long. I had too much fun. It's going to have to happen again.
That's it. Jason's ready to go. I dig it, man. Hey, that's how a lot of these events get started. When you look back over time and you're like, some of these annual things we go to, you realize it did just start out of somebody's harebrained, scheme at one point of like, we should do this, like as a moonshot. And you're like, maybe we should do it again. I like that. I feel like that's also the story behind sled pulling in every project truck ever built of like, I got this moonshot of an idea. Like I'm going to put this together and this is going to go great. Now you guys got a project truck going on. Tell our listeners a little bit about that, and then we're going to dive into some hardcore sled pulling talk here.
Yeah. So for anyone that follows WC FAB or follows the truck pulling that we've been doing over the years, one of my personal trucks that I built 2015 or so, 2016 I think we came out. It was built for Illini State Pullers, which is the local organization here that we're a part of, for their altered stock class, which is like a intermediate level class. There's no weight bars allowed in it. There was no hood stacks. It was short wheelbase, and it was actually a class. It was pretty interesting. It was a gas versus diesel class. So I built a. I've always been a big square body fan. So I built a 1976 GMC square body on a old 1-ton chassis. Put a Duramax in it. Our rules, we still had to run a normal 1-ton style transmission, so an NV 4500 behind it with a 205 transfer case, big rear end, Dana 60 in the front, and came out with that in 2016, and I ran that for 3 or 4 seasons. I think I finished second 2 years in a row, and then 2019 I won the points championship with that truck, and then I got the harebrained idea to tear apart a perfectly great truck that worked really well and go up to another class. So I would thank my friend Jeremy Beats for that one. We kind of all put our heads together, and for several years we've been talking about building a diesel-only short wheelbase, lighter truck class. So obviously all the big truck classes out there in the diesel motorsports is, most of them are 8,000 pounds. Most of them are 158-inch wheelbase, dual rear wheels. that kind of thing. And around here with the local organization and the local trucks, we really wanted to do something a little bit different and something different to sell to the fairs. So we kind of modeled it after your super stock gas class. We've got a 137-inch wheelbase, so single cab, 8-foot bed trucks, 6,500 pounds. So it's a driver class. It's not all about how much horsepower you make. It's definitely a lot of setup and a lot of driving. So it's different, it's cool, and this is a new class we just developed, and 2020 was supposed to be the first year for it. We had a couple trucks that were built in 2019 that ran like exhibition in 2019, and 2020 was supposed to be the first legit year. We sold the class to several fairs, and we had, I think, 13 or 14 hooks on the schedule. So I took my truck and pretty much rebuilt it for this new class, and then 2020 came about, and we all know what happened after that. So pretty much I spent all last winter rebuilding this perfectly great truck for a new class, and then we didn't have a pulling season.
Doesn't pull, right.
So we did make some exhibition hooks with it later on in the year at least, and I think we made 5 or 6 passes with it, and it's getting dialed in and hopefully be ready for a normal season next year.
Well, that's got to be tough to put a truck like that into an exhibition hook because you don't have anybody to set it against to say like, oh no, this is the weight we're all running, therefore this is a reasonable weight. Like if you're just So what do you run it against the same weight as an 8,000-pound class?
No, so luckily it worked out. We had a nice stepping stone for the club and for the members and for the spectators to see what was happening because ISP has a 6,500-pound open class. It's straight that. If your vehicle weighs 6,500 pounds, meets safety requirements, and that's it.
Yeah.
If you meet those 2 requirements, you can pull in the class. So that class has tractors. It has trucks with bar tires. It has trucks with DOT tires. It's got front engine tractors. It's got farm tractors. It's got everything in it. So we were able to, the couple of guys that built these trucks that are interested in this class, we were all pulling in this 6,500 open class. So we had other vehicles in there that were very similar to ours, and we ran the same turbos and kept things similar because we already had a set of rules kind of pre-planned in the background for this new class. So these trucks all got built around this set of rules, and we spent that first year, 2019, kind of pulling in this class and showing everybody, like, this is the class we're trying to build. This is what these 3 or 4 trucks are for. And, we got 2 or 3, 4 other guys on the other end that are all talking about it. So, we got 6, 7, maybe 8 guys planning to be on this class for next year. So it worked out okay because we were able to judge each other a little bit and know what we were getting in for because we were able to pull in this open class the year before. So it was a lot of fun.
I like it, man. I think that's going to be a fun one to watch. I think you're right. I think that's going to be a lot of.
It's different. It's the biggest thing that we try and do with it is, you can build a pulling truck as strong as you want and put the biggest rear end and front end and gears and axles. I mean, the heavy trucks still have a lot of carnage. When a heavy truck gets bouncing and when the sleds get heavier and when they get going faster, it's just, there's no doubt about it. It's rougher on everything and there's more carnage. So the thing with the light trucks is they're not always hooked up, and just being lighter, it's easier on parts. Like you can ask any veteran truck puller, like a lighter class is going to be easier on parts. So we kind of look at it in the grand scheme of things to be, which this is a crazy thing to say, but a little less expensive because the trucks are potentially going to stay together a little longer, and you don't necessarily need as big and crazy, rear ends and front ends and things like that. These trucks only run single rear wheels. We're not running on duals. And like I said several times, it's a lot more about driving and reading the track and understanding your truck and understanding the clutch and the engine and everything, versus just having all the power and all the weight and just going out there and giving her all she's got. So, we're really hoping it's a little easier class to enter. There's a lot of chassis out there for sale from the gas super stock classes, which we kind of based our rules around. A guy that wants to get into this class, he could literally go pick up a rolling chassis for, 10, 15, 20 grand with some good parts, and you could drop in your motor and fuel system and engine that you might have already had from another truck, and you could put together a competitive truck for this class, which, $50,000 sounds like a lot of money, but in regards to these, high-level classes, $50,000 or $75,000 is the cheaper end of a pulling class at this level. Yeah. But you could enter this class and be competitive at a little bit lower level than, to go build a 3.0 or a 3.6 158-inch wheelbase, PPL, NTPA style truck, you're going to spend $150,000, $125,000 grand to build one. Not to run it. Yeah, that's to build one.
Not to repair it.
So, 20, 30, 40% less, this lighter, shorter wheelbase class, and you're going to make every event because you're not going to be tearing your shit up all the time. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
What's
we
the
get
horsepower
a lot of
level in this? Where do you guys put the limits on power?
It's very similar to the 3-inch PPL class. So the limited pros is what the 3-inch 158-inch trucks are. So we call our class light pro.
Okay.
So it's just like those trucks. It's just shorter wheelbase, single rear wheel, and it's a 3-inch charger. So whereas 3-inch smoothbore is your limits, you can run a weight bar, you can run a hood stack, you can run open driveline, you can have a drop box reverser, you can have a gutted bed, but it's single rear wheel, short wheelbase at 6,500 pounds. So you're 1,500 pounds lighter than the other trucks.
So are we getting? This is where I always get lost when we talk about 3.0 smoothbore. We're talking about 1,000 horsepower truck easy.
Oh, now you want me to talk numbers?
Well, just a ballpark, maybe not your truck. Like you would expect a truck in this class with a 3.0 smoothbore.
The number is just that. It's a number. Dynos vary all over, and whether you're on your engine builder's dyno or somebody else's dyno, how big of a number they want you to see. But a 3-inch smoothbore today is very competitive. They can range anywhere from, I'll give it a range of 1,300 to 1,500 horsepower. So it's up there. Yeah. I mean, it's way more power than a 6,500 pound truck needs.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. It's like fucking nuts. What are you doing?
It's a lot of throttle and clutch control. No doubt. Where 1,500 horse or 1,400 horse on an 8,000 pound truck, fucking lay into that sucker
has
and
dualies.
Go.
That has going to grip. That has cut tires. That I can actually. I know I'm hooking up, and I'm.
So you got 30% less tire on the ground and 1,500 less pounds weight. So
now would somebody be insane to go because this is the balance of sled pulling, right? Is you have this limit of a 3.0 smoothbore. Nobody's going to go run a Stealth 64 a drop-in turbo or not
in these classes.
A small 63 mil but you might not actually use more than 800 horsepower.
Yes,
on the
honestly,
track.
in this class that we're talking about that I've built my truck for, and Aaron Jess, another guy that pulls with ISP, and Jeremy Beats, the Beats brothers. You've probably heard of Dirty Deer, the John Deere truck. A couple other guys, Jake Thompson, Jeremy Moss, some guys that we pull with. I mean, you could honestly, and I strongly believe you could come out in this class with lesser horsepower and probably kick our ass with the guys that have more horsepower on certain days and certain tracks.
Yeah.
Because it's that much of a difference with not only track conditions, but just in general, sometimes these lesser horsepower trucks in a lighter class do really well. So that's what else makes it fun. It's not always about, that guy's got a pile of money and a pile of time in his truck and he goes out and wins every hook, because that's not always the case.
Right.
Because the driving is so important, and the track conditions and reading the track and just getting a good hook and a good line, and there's so many more things that come into play versus just having 50 more horse than the other guy in the class.
You guys steer 3 inches to the left and 3 inches to the right and talk about what an expert you are. Get out of here. It's dirt. You just drive.
I keep one eye closed.
Okay, so walk me through it. If I'm going to go out and I'm going to build a truck like this, you said I can get like a rolling chassis. When I think of chassis, I'm thinking that's like I'm ready to go. I got a frame. I got tires. Maybe my hitch is already set up, right? I already got some weights in it or something like this. How much of it am I getting when I'm getting a rolling chassis? What am I looking at there?
It's typically everything but your engine, your clutch, and sometimes a transmission. A lot of times these an open driveline truck, which is what we're referring to, has a drop box transfer case, whether it's SCS or ProFab, where your transfer case and your transmission are kind of one unit, and that's typically part of the chassis. So when I say rolling chassis, you can buy that whole unit, and all you got to do is get a clutch and an engine, and you're ready to go pulling. I make that sound really simple. It's not that simple.
I know. Well, okay. Well, what's the benefit of buying somebody else's headache? I mean, a rolling chassis, or going and taking my truck and saying, okay, I've had this truck for 5 years. Now I'm ready to convert it.
Oh, you could certainly do that, and there's no reason you can't. It's just obviously buying all these high-end fancy pulling parts new versus secondhand. You're talking 50 cents on the dollar. So if you want to spend the extra money and build one yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. But the idea behind the class and the mindset we used with the rules is gas trucks, which gas trucks have been pulling since the 70s. Like I know some guys from ISP, like they're pioneers, Wally Harvell and Brummel. They're pioneers. I mean, they've literally been pulling these trucks since the 70s. Yeah. They've been around forever. So you literally, gas truck pulling has been around for 50 years now. So gas truck pulling hasn't changed a lot over the years in regards to the chassis and the class rules, the stuff I've mentioned several times, the 130 to 137-inch wheelbase, or right around in that, or 127 to 133, right in that range, your single cab long bed trucks. That's what guys have used for the last 40 years for gas classes. So not figuratively speaking, you find these chassis a dime a dozen because they've literally been getting built around this similar set of rules for 40, 50 years. So it's easy to go on Racing Junk or to go on social media to truck pulling pages and be able to come across a truck that maybe somebody built 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, but it meets the rules of this class that we're designing. Sure, it had a V8 in it probably.
Right.
But it's not a big deal to put a diesel in it. So, but the chassis itself, the axles, the body, the transmission, the weight bar, all that stuff, it's all going to meet the rules or be very close to. So you could pick up something like that, and you could literally, if you have a powertrain ready, have a truck ready to go in a couple months versus taking your single cab daily driver 04, 05 LOI or LBZ and stripping her down to the frame and starting from bare scratch. That's going to be a project. That's going to be, 6-8 month ordeal. So time, money. I mean, I say you can pick up these trucks, cheaper because you're going to put a whole lot more than 15, 20 grand into building yours to get to the level you need to be to
get to
stay
that
reliable.
chassis.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, just a drop box and drive shafts. I mean, you got 7-8 grand wrapped up just in that stuff. So when you can buy that stuff secondhand on a truck that's been out and about for a couple years, and probably it's a good chassis, it's been dialed in, it works. You're not starting from scratch and figuring it out. So it's a easier entry into the class, I guess is what I'm getting at. I mean, a lot of guys go to stock class truck pulling, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's where everyone starts. We all started there, stock class truck pulling. And then from there, it's kind of stair-stepping up your way, and you find what you can afford and how dedicated you are, whether or not you're going to be going 3-4 days a week or you just want to do it every other weekend throughout the summer. But you don't want to sink a pile of money into this and not use it as much as you can. I mean, pulling season's only 3 months. You're going to make every goddamn pull you can. So
I love that.
A guy can go from a stock class, and whether you rebuild your stock class truck or you don't use that truck and you buy one of these rollers, it's your next step up. When you've been winning stock class long enough and you're ready to move up to the next step and go to the next level, the light pro class that we designed around here. Obviously, this is only relevant to guys in the Midwest here. What we love about ISP and just in this general, this group of guys that run with this club is, like I said earlier, we got between 30 and 35 hooks total in the club. The class, you might be around 20 hooks a year for the class, but I can go to 20, 25 hooks a year and not drive more than 2 hours from home.
Yeah.
Which is nice because I like to do other shit on the weekends. I like to go boating. I like to go ride my dirt bike and do other stuff. I don't want to dedicate a Thursday to a Monday to drive 10 hours to go run a 20-second truck pull.
No, this is the heartland of sled pulling.
Yeah,
right? This is where it's at.
And I love the National League, and I love going to PPL events and traveling and doing that stuff, but I got too many other hobbies I like to do. Yeah. So I got to keep it local. So we really support ISP, and you guys do too, and we appreciate that. I've been a part of ISP since 2008 now, and I've been on the board with ISP for 4 or 5 years. So it's we're
longer
we love
than
it.
WC FAB has been around.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I started going to truck pulls
in
in high school, and that was before WC FAB was a thing, I guess. Really, I mean, ISP and truck pulling is what started WC FAB. So
yeah,
that's kind of the beginning of it all. And so that's the one truck. We also have the OG, what started it all, the LB7 shop truck, which if you jump on our social media just this past week, a couple days ago, or as the day of this recording, I think it was posted today, we did a Throwback Thursday shot of the old LB7 shop truck. So anyone that's followed WC FAB for any sort of time knows about the original LB7 bubble nose, which started it all. I bought that truck in high school, and it really was the start of everything, and I still got it. And we truck pull with that one in a different class than ISP. It's a hot street class where pretty much anything goes under the hood aside from nitrous, but you got to stick on a 1-ton drive line. So that's a tough class because you tear shit up.
Yeah.
We tear shit up a lot. So, but it's fun because that's an 8,000-pound class, and it's, I got a big compound set on that truck, a S400 over a big Precision. It's probably 1,200 horse or something, and it's just stupid. Tearing shit up all the time. We work on that truck a whole lot more than we work on the light pro truck. I'll tell you that.
It's always an LB7.
It's always, yeah.
Nick,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you just go. It's the time period. I mean,
Is that why you and Nick were friends? And you're like, I got a bubble nose. I got a bubble nose. I got compounds. I got compounds. Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. Oh, it was his old 01. I think when I
God.
first met Nick, he was still driving that one around because he started that stuff back in, I was 06 or whatever, right around there. And I think I met him in 07 or 08 maybe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the bubble nose, man. That's what started it all.
I know.
It's the beginning of the Duramax. So.
All you guys and your nostalgia.
There's just, I mean, I look at an LB7 right now, and it's like, Jesus, this is like a gas 350. There's nothing to it compared to looking under the hood of a L5P nowadays or a 6.7. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, what do you mean I don't got to pull back 7 inches of plastic on top of it from sound?
The motor out of the LB7, which is still, I mean, I still street drive the truck. It's a legit hot street truck. Like we have truck pull mode and we have street mode, and there's 1,500 pounds of weight.
Only guy in the U.S. running a DSP2.
I have a DSP. I have a lockable DSP switch in that truck, so depending on who's driving it, I can pull it out of a certain tune. No, we got I got a set of street tires. We got a set of pulling tires. Take the hitch off, put the license plate back on, and take the 1,500 pounds of steel out of the front, and we street drive it or burn the tires off on the street. Anyways.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't go anywhere but sideways. But no, it's wild. It's a fun truck. But that's what started it all. I mean, that's where the business started. I mean, I built my first twin kit on that truck in my parents' garage in 2010. So
Jesus.
Yeah.
Pie cuts.
Fuck yeah, man. That was cool.
I get it. It looks good. Yeah. No, it is. It's funny now, that we talk about sled pull trucks and like the builds that go on and the LB7 you mentioned. I'm like, I've seen I don't know how many different turbo setups on that truck just in the time that I've seen it. Right?
I can't even count them all.
It's
I don't have
nonsense.
enough fingers to count them all.
It's just it's one of those things where like you mentioned, like back in the day, just having the LB7 was cool, and then getting into work stock was cool, and then it kind of is always progressing. If you could pull back right now and just say, man, I have no obstacles. Here's the truck I'm going to build, and I'm going to go sled pulling with it, and this is my sled pull truck. Would you go all the way out to like the 3.0 smoothbore national class? Like, what would you go build if you were going to go build your dream sled pull truck with no obstacles?
So if I didn't work as much as I did and I had more time on the weekends and I didn't have a baby on the way and I didn't have all these other hobbies and I wanted to travel more, I would hands down build a super stock diesel truck.
Really?
Yes. Fucking love them. They're great.
Even knowing what goes into them,
yes.
and the amount of maintenance and the work. And
I would totally regret it, but I would do it. There's not a lot of common rails. I mean, count on one hand the amount of common rails in the super stock class. And a good friend of mine, Phil DeVries, who works at Exergy, me and him go back and forth about this all the time, and we get really nerdy on what we would do if we were going to build a common rail super stock truck. And yeah, I would spend way too much time, and I would like I said, I'd probably totally regret it in the end. But building these, it's half the hobby, building your truck or building what you envision is half the fun.
Yeah.
But even running them, they're just such insane powerhouses, and it's cool. But that would be if I had the time to spend to travel and do all that, like doing the super stock diesel class. I mean, you're running with PPL or you're running with NTPA. You're doing 20, 25 hooks a year, but every hook is 5 to 15 hours away. And like I said earlier, I just don't want to travel that much because I got too much other fun stuff I like to do. So, but if none of that mattered and this was my only hobby, I'd be building a super stock truck. No doubt.
You look like in a heartbeat you'd be doing it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You thought about this.
I have to talk myself out of it sometimes. Actually, I should say my brother has to talk me out of it. You really don't want to do this.
You don't. This sounds so
terrible. This is a financial mistake.
You know everything about why not to do this.
I'll just keep thinking about it, and maybe someday I will. I mean, maybe I'll build one, and maybe somebody at the shop will go run it if they got more time to travel or something. I don't know. That's wishful thinking because everyone's too damn busy.
That's it, right? Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, that would be what I would do probably.
That's wild, man. I laugh about it because I think about like when I first got around diesels and what I thought was awesome has clearly changed compared to now. But there's still no way that I would like go into a heavy high horsepower competition. Like that's just to me, I'm like I have no. I would go for the like.
That's just what's in me. I mean, I'm just competitive as it gets. Like you work your right up and you go for it.
The next step.
Yep.
Yeah. What's the next? I like it. Hey, man, I really appreciate you carving out some time and talking to our listeners today. What advice would you give to guys who are thinking about getting into sled pulling or maybe thinking about going from work stock and stepping up to that next class?
If you're going to, I mean, it's fun. The biggest thing is get out there and experience it and enjoy it. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have all the best parts. Get some secondhand stuff, borrow stuff from your buddies. I mean, that's where it all started. I remember borrowing a Hypertech programmer from a kid at school when I was 17. And it's no different. Like, if you've never truck pulled and you're scared to do it, don't think that you need to have all the big badass stuff, because you just got to get a taste of it, and then you're really hooked. And I'll say sorry now. But if you're interested in going truck pulling, I mean, get a hold. There's in the Midwest, anyways. There's a lot of local organizations, a lot of brush pulls, a lot of small time stuff, county fairs, things like that. Everyone's got a stock class, and you don't need to have all kinds of fancy parts or a ton of money. I mean, a couple basics wouldn't hurt. Get a decent hitch. Don't put some junk hitch on there. I've seen enough trucks get separated from the sled because they have some shitty hitch on it.
No, don't worry. Those chains will stop.
Yeah, traction bars aren't a bad idea. If you're running a Duramax, crank your bars down. Don't do the frickin' wave. And just go out and try it. Just go out and have fun. I mean, that would be definitely entry-level suggestion, advice, is just go out and give it a shot and don't worry about anything else and go out and have fun, because you will. I guarantee it.
It is.
There's no doubt about it. If you're any bit of a gearhead, you're going to have a blast.
I always joke about sled pulling because, you spend all this money, you spend all this time, and honestly, it doesn't matter if you're in the work stock class or if you're in the super stock class. You do like 30 miles an hour, top speed, 35. So you spend all this money, you have all this horsepower, and you're like, oh man, it's so much fun. And from the stands, to be honest with you, watching it, the first 5 trucks go 30 miles an hour, I'm like, cool. And then after an hour, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a stroll. But being in the truck one time, you will glue your ass to that seat for every sled pull you attend after that, because all of a sudden you're like, oh, I get it. And
you start watching
have to be there.
And asking questions and talking to other guys in the pits that maybe have been doing it a little longer, and that's when you're making buddies, and that's when you really start spending money and having fun, and late nights working in the shop and pissing off the girlfriend of the wife. But that's part of it. I mean, that's just part of guys and hobbies. And
that's it, man.
Having fun, going out and doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then once you get up from there, the biggest thing you can do is, make some buddies, have fun, make some buddies, have fun, take advice from guys that have been doing it longer. I mean, there's a lot of veteran truck pullers out there, and some of them might not tell you much, but other guys will be more than willing to help a newcomer. I mean, we see it every year with ISP. Like I said, I've been a part of ISP for many years, and every year there's a couple new guys. Oh, who's this guy? You never seen him around before, and you'll see them trickle in, and you see them get hooked, obviously, and then they're there at every event, and then within a couple of years, they work their way up. And if you make friends and you ask questions and you get advice, you can save yourself some headache and some money and getting the right parts and doing the right things and maybe saving some breakage. Obviously, that's half the fun of stock class. Everyone's breaking shit, but you want to prevent it if you can.
Yeah.
Things like traction bars, it's a wise investment if you think you're going to go truck pulling more than once. Yeah. So
that's good, man. I think that's good advice. Hey, while we got you here, I know we talked at the top of the show about some new products over at Duramax Tuner. I'm always keeping my eye on you guys as well. It's been a crazy year. Your catalog has definitely expanded throughout 2020. What can our listeners look forward to in 2021?
Yeah, so we talked a little bit earlier. I had mentioned earlier in the show when we had our truck pull event, we bought some property down the street from our current shop because we're on a pretty regular overgrowing of our shop space. We've been religiously every 3 years running out of space. And 2021 marks 3 years in our current shop. So we bought a piece of property down the street, and we're in the process of design and working on a potential new building for next year. Bigger facility, able to expand some of our divisions. Our powder coat shop, which we've been really well known in the industry for our, high quality powder coat work and a lot of custom stuff, and really letting you customize the underhood of your truck and making it what you want it to be. And we used to offer that service to just walk-in customers, guys coming off the street that are, rebuilding their old John Deere snowmobile or their old trike three-wheeler. But unfortunately, about a year and a half ago, we kind of started turning away the outside work just because we didn't have the capacity. We were out of space in the shop, and we're running 2 shifts, and we just don't have the time because WC FAB is so busy, which obviously all of our great customers, all you listeners out there, we totally appreciate it. But we really, want to try and get back into some of these other guys, these enthusiasts and hobbyists that want to have some of that powder coat work. So the new shop, we're planning on expanding the powder coat shop quite a bit and starting to bring in some outside work again. Obviously we're talking a year from now or so, but expanding all parts of the shop, more R&D, more new product, hopefully more new vehicles. We hear all you 6'7" Ford owners out there, and I'm sorry, it's been a long time coming. We've been obviously big Duramax guys for many years, and quite a bit of Cummins stuff too, and we hear everybody with all the requests for the 6.7 Power Stroke, and we want to go down that road. And hopefully in the years down the road here, we'll have the space and the time and the manpower to get into that. It's just we've been really busy with the Duramax stuff, and 2020 has been a great year for us. I know we've probably had 20 or 30 new products released this year, a lot of new stuff, a lot of cool stuff, and we want to keep it going, and we need the space, and so we're excited to expand again in the coming year or two. And on top of that, if we have any listeners out there that are in this category, the side-by-sides. A lot of you diesel truck owners own side-by-sides, and like any horsepower junkie, adrenaline junkie like myself, we like going fast and doing crazy shit. So we've got side-by-sides, and we love riding them and driving them. I get them mixed up because I talk motocross and I talk side-by-sides, and some people call them cars, and I still call it a bike. It's like, it's not a bike, it's a car. So you'll hear me use the wrong lingo because I'm involved in too much of that stuff. But the side-by-side market. So 2020, we quietly, softly launched WC FAB side-by-side, another little spin-off brand of the WC FAB brand, spin-off company of the WC FAB brand. And in 2021, we plan on we're going to have a whole product line launched for the Honda Talon, which is a new model, obviously just came out a couple years ago. There's not a ton of aftermarket support like the Razor or the Can-Am might have. So we started with the Talon. We've got a Talon of our own, got about a half a dozen buddies with them, and we've been beating the shit out of them all year with a bunch of our parts, a bunch of cool shit, bumpers, rock sliders, radius rods, lower doors, bumpers, roll cages, all the typical bolt-on stuff. So watch out for next year. We're going to have some side-by-side product coming, and once we get that machine dialed in, I know we'll be spending some time on the Razor and the Can-Am. So you Can-Am and Razor owners out there, sit tight. We're not going to forget about you. We'll get to you too. So with moving into the new building, it's going to allow some more space for that business as well, and hopefully we can find the time to continue developing new product for that one and keep exciting shit coming for all you horsepower junkies and adrenaline enthusiasts out there.
I'm excited, man. Hey, before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to?
My wonderful wife, Brittany. We got married earlier this year in July. A long time coming.
Look at that smile. I know you're so recently married. You still smile when you say it.
Well, we got a baby boy on the way, so we got to have someone carry on this madness. Baby boy due in April, so we're excited about that. Keep up with his little nephew. My brother Ryan had a boy about a year and a half ago, so got a lot of fun stuff coming. It's a family business. We love it. We enjoy it. For you guys out there that maybe don't know much about us, we are eat, sleep, and breathe horsepower and adrenaline. Not just diesel. Like I said earlier, we're into all sorts of motorsports and just sports in general. The business, like I said, my wife, she works for us there in the office and helps with the office staff. And my brother Ryan, he's helped me with this business from day one. Both my younger brothers, Mitch runs a powder coat shop. He is the detail man, slinging the pow. And my youngest brother, Chad, he is the CNC man. He is doing all the cam work and running all the CNCs. We got 4 CNC machines there. We're running and keeping busy and keeping him on his toes. Always running new parts and working on new shit. And Chad, make me this. Chad, make me that. So
yeah, I remember Chad. Best interview ever. Said 4 words.
Yeah, that's typical Chad. He's quiet, but he'll open up. He'll open up eventually. No, the whole family, the whole crew, WC FAB, the whole team. We got an excellent team. I can't say enough about them. A lot of diehard guys that just love what they do. And I tell you what, because we're talking right to our enthusiasts and our friends and our customers out there, everybody in the shop loves reading reviews and reading comments when we post YouTube videos, or if we have a happy customer leave a review for us, or just commenting on social media. There isn't a single guy in the shop that doesn't have WC FAB social media first notifications on their phone. And I love hearing the stories about the guys in the shop when they see the customers that love the product and the quality or just the experience of working with WC FAB, like it puts a smile on everybody's face in the shop, and it goes a long way. And we really appreciate our customers. We appreciate everyone that supports us and lets us do what we want to do. I mean, we love what we do. It's our everyday thing, and I spend way too much time at work. And I'm sorry, Brittany, but we all love it and we know it, and it's what keeps all this growing. And that's why we're just doing more and more shit and keeping up on new product and trying to be at the forefront, with the L5P and everything. So, I can't thank everybody enough, the whole team, all the customers, all the support. 10 years, it's been awesome. If you made it out to the event, I hope you had fun. If not, hopefully we'll see you at the next anniversary event.
If not, you paid to get in anyways, fuckers. Hey, guys, for real, Jason, thank you so much for, like I said, carving out some time for our listeners, joining me for the show today. I really appreciate it. Guys, if you're asking where Chris Emke is, give him a call over at his extension. That's 815-568-7920, extension 2121. Ask him why he missed today's recording. For today, this has been Paul Wilson.
And Jason Wehrli.
Thanks for listening. How do I start these?
Thank you for joining us.
Holy shit.